Well, it's been 1 year since Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders has taken office, and since then, we've seen several pieces of legislation implemented. We've seen changes to education, taxes, even the justice system. So I sat down with the governor to reflect on her first year in office. Here's what she had to say. All right, I have the pleasure of sitting down with the first female governor of the state of Arkansas, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure.
All right, we will jump right into it. Everyone's favorite. Let's talk about money. You have made significant strides when it comes to tax cuts, specifically corporate taxes, personal income tax. Where are we in your plan to phase out personal income tax?
Well, I'm really proud of the fact that my first year in office, we were able to cut taxes not once, but twice, returning about $300 million back to individuals and businesses across the state. It's not something we can do overnight. We want to be smart and responsible through that process, but I'm confident that we can continue chipping away at that state income tax until we get it to zero.
Now, one of the things I love that you say is you vowed to keep money in the pockets of Arkansans, but it's not just about tax cuts, it's also about increasing the average income in Arkansas. So what is your plan when it comes to increasing the average income so we can stay competitive and continue to drive people to Arkansas?
We're no longer just competing with Mississippi and Texas and the states immediately around us. Arkansas has to compete in the global economy. So one of the first steps is phasing out that income tax, but one of the biggest pieces of that is really giving people a solid foundation, and you do that by making sure that every student in the state has access to a good quality education. I'm a big believer that education is the very first and most important part of that foundation. It's why we spent so much time focusing the first part of this past year on passing and implementing Arkansas Learns, which is the most comprehensive transformational education package, certainly in our state's history, maybe anywhere in the country, to really help give every student an opportunity to succeed.
You know, you're trying to get away from that one-size-fits-all education policy and kind of state of mind. So with that in mind, some people are a little critical, when it comes to certain aspects of Learns. Obviously, there are great achievements and success in Learns, but some people are a little critical. So when it comes to the voucher program and when it comes to, just different aspects of Learns, how do you respond to some of that criticism?
You know, I don't think that any child, not just in Arkansas, but anywhere in the country, should be trapped in a failing school because of their zip code or how much money their parents make. I want to make sure that every kid has the tools and the resources and is able to go to the school that best fits their needs. And I think that by empowering parents and opening up education freedom accounts, we're giving that ability to every family to really decide how best and where their kids can be educated.
And just switching gears, you've also taken a really hard stance on the prison system. And so when it comes to the prison system, you passed the Protect Arkansas Act, which would lengthen the duration of prison sentences for violent offenders. But with that comes overcrowding, understaffing. So where does your plan stand currently in terms of overcoming that?
Look, it's not the most fun topic and certainly not the most fun place to spend money, but unfortunately it's one of the most necessary. A state cannot really be successful if it's not safe, if people don't feel safe in their communities. And the idea that we would allow violent repeat offenders back on the streets, back into their community, simply because we don't have space to house them, to me is not a justification. We have existing space in our prisons. We want to open that up so that we are doing a better job of protecting our citizens and protecting the people of this state.
What other solutions do you think are out there when it comes to fentanyl and the opioid crisis?
We have to do a better job of the people who need recovery and rehabilitation programs that have strong addictions. We've invested heavily in that. We're continuing to look for ways that we can invest and break that cycle of addiction.
And we're wrapping up here, but in following your career, it seems like you are a woman of faith, a proud woman of faith, and someone who has conservative beliefs. So as the governor, how do you balance staying true to yourself and being Sarah Huckabee Sanders while also being the governor of people who might not share the same ideologies and backgrounds that you have? How do you balance wants that.
Part of the authenticity of my faith is that I'm comfortable talking about it. I'm also not trying to replace the Capitol dome with a steeple and force my faith on anybody else. If it's real, if it's true, people see it by the way you live your life.
And what have you not accomplished in your first year in office that you're like, we're going to get after it in this next year?
Look, I still want to see, I think the next year is 2023 on overdrive. I want to make Arkansas the best place in the country for anybody to live, to raise their family, and to work. And I think we've done some great things this past year, and we're only going to continue to build on that success so that everybody gets to see what I do and wants to be part of what's happening here in the state.
Now, that was most of the interview, but you can find the full sit down online right now. Just click on the link for this story on thv11.com.